Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Put Us on the Hot Seat. Sebastian and I are happy to have you back. I hope you're watching on this extremely hot day in Brussels. I am sleeveless. Sebastian is in his polo neck again, and we are here. We have a lot of news to share, and also happy to get more of your questions like last week. So yes, we're ready to get going. If you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. Are you on the beach? Are you in Brussels? Are you in a very hot office? Do you have air conditioning? We have all the questions. Please let us know in the chat where you are at the moment. So thank you for being with us. We're going to start with some news that has been happening. We have prepared a couple of things for you. So, Sebastian, what are we starting with today? Where are you? How hot is it in Spain?
Yes, indeed. I find myself in Malaga today. It's really hot. We are starting a heat wave, which we call May. But it's at the same time, I hear that Brussels is lovely. And that's the best time to be in Brussels is around these days. And I wanted to ask you if you held to your promise of having a alcoholic or non-alcoholic drink next to you.
It is still a little bit too early for alcohol. You were right. Yeah. So I am still drinking tea. It's true. But I will be having some Prosecco later today.
Indeed. All right. You make sure you take a picture and tag us, and hopefully everyone will enjoy. Will enjoy the sun and the nice weekend in Brussels. Let's start. Let's jump right in.
I'm so sorry, Luis. Thank you for joining us from Brazil. Always nice to have you all the way from Brazil. What's the weather like in Brazil, Luis? I know he can't answer me. Oh, and we have someone joining as well from Nigeria. Hi, Fikono. Yomi, I know you told me how to pronounce your name. I will keep trying. Very nice to have such an international audience, guys. All right, let's get started with our news.
And also India, we are really going global, Liora. Like this has already been established as a global live LinkedIn show.
Really exciting. Yeah. Hi, Akshay. All right.
All right.
So the slides, then we will start because we have a lot to share. All right. So I shared on my LinkedIn that AI slop is down and that we are experiencing, myself, and also for our clients, that reach is up. So if you're watching, let us know, are your impressions up? Are your engagements up if you go to your analytics, especially over the last week or two? Do you see a difference? Now, I find it very interesting that the VP of LinkedIn said that they are going to really hunt down AI slop because, of course, how are they going to do this? Using AI, right? They're using AI and we spoke about this last week on this channel, that they try to find inappropriate imagery and they used AI to do that. And they even took down 6 of my posts, some of which didn't even have images, saying that the images were inappropriate and they were just links. So they're not very good at it. Yet they say that they're 94% accurate in taking down inappropriate content or generic content, 95% identification of generic content. What is generic content? I am all for them taking AI bot profiles down, taking down those repetitive comments, which are definitely generated with machines. But at the same time, do we trust them to bring our impressions down using bots? It's a bit scary, right? So it's a bit of at the same time, I do feel that we've been seeing less boring posts, fewer boring posts. I do feel there is a bit of a improvement there. So, if they get it right, it will be good. At the same time, sometimes I have a really good post. It's not generic, and it gets barely any impressions. And I know many of you feel the same way. Often after a really strong post that got maybe 100,000 impressions, your next post is almost like LinkedIn wants to punish you for your success, and your
Yeah.
next post does really poorly. And why is that? So it's very random, the algorithm. So do we trust them on this? Do we feel like just being very good with your hooks, with your original content is gonna I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on this, but at the same time, if they can take out all the bots from LinkedIn, from the comments, and also the fake profiles, of course, that's a good thing. Louis has a comment on that about how his impressions are doing. He says the last week it was pretty good. This week, not so good, reaching almost only my first degree context compared to last week, which was his best performance ever. So up and down as usual. How about you, Sebastian? How are your impressions?
I gotta be honest. I'm very very frustrated because nothing seems to fly, and I'm trying to do many different things. And to be honest, it's I am right now in an almost paralysis state because I am trying to go back to think. It's forcing me to go back and think, why am I here in this network in the first place? And and really, is this network asking me and putting me in a box that says you only if you talk about this, then you will reach more people? Or because I think I can speak about a lot of things. I think I can speak about mental health, communications, AI, etc. But that seems to be like very confusing for the algorithm. And I've been punished, I think, a little bit by that, and I like to post a lot. So like these tips that you also share that we can see a little bit later, like seem to me very constraining because I think I find my voice better when I react as a human to a lot of things that are happening to me. So I don't know if it's because I should prioritize video, if I should prioritize image, or the most interesting thing, which is what we are doing, Liora, is doing like collaborations and trying to do more things with other people and show up in someone else's feed through a collaboration. Maybe that's a way to go, but it's really frustrating. Like my impressions are definitely down. So I'm here to also see and unlock what you have researched on the best tips. Also, some research that has been published recently, and hear from our colleagues following us on this LinkedIn Live, because this is more like a therapy session, right, rather than a master class.
Yeah, this complaint that people don't want to niche down, that they have so many different things they have opinions on, and they want to talk about all of them on their channel is the question I get the most every single day. And I also think it's the biggest mistake. And if you can choose one specific area of focus, you will, and you are consistent with that, you will see your impressions and your impact going up quickly, but you need to do it for a little while. So that we can talk about more later. In the meantime, hello, Doran, watching from Amsterdam, and a row Lakshi watching from Berlin. Guys, is anyone in Brussels? If you're in Brussels and you're watching us, then let us know. And Luis, sorry that it's chilly there in Brazil. Come here, we're burning up. Let's go to the next page. So yeah, LinkedIn also gave us some shocking advice. No, not really. It was not very helpful, but it did give us some advice. It said that if you want results, post 2 to 5 times per week. It also is, again, pushing video. I told you guys that whenever you see a video that's performing really well, it's always sponsored by LinkedIn usually. But it's, again, pushing its video aspirations with its big goal to turn into the next TikTok. Of course, a lot of money there. Says that you should be consistent and, again, have a point of view. So nothing new there. But maybe we can continue and see what else we should be doing. Yeah, if you do want to do video, I do think it's a good idea, by the
Yeah.
way, because they keep pushing it. We do expect it to perform better, also organically, maybe by the end of this year. Um, don't do these over edited videos. If you are in a company or in an organization, you have these teams that can over edit videos and make it super slick. That's not actually what works at the moment. That's also why we're doing this messy kind of live show today. It's just more about real experience, a clear point of view, breaking down trends, maybe doing a selfie type of video from the streets. It can be noisy. You can add some cool effects, maybe kind of Instagram like, but it's not about these cool or like animations, agency created types of videos. It's more about, because what is video about? Why is this working now? Because everyone wants to know that it's you. They want to get to know the real you. They want to know that the content has not been created by ChatGPT or another large language model. So, show who you are, how you think, show a quick, unpolished point of view, and then just throw it out there. Experiment. And if you get, there was a person I knew who started doing daily videos just with a quick thought, a quick tip, and those started performing really well. People really started looking forward to his unstructured, unpolished thoughts. So that could be something that you could try, and you could do it once a week. You don't have to do it every day, obviously.
And also, you have the example that I think I am picking for later in our presentation, which is Nick Thompson, who is from. Let me see if I can find him. Unfortunately, it doesn't display. But the Nick Thompson, the CEO of the Atlantic, the American media outlet, it does just that. He has like this series of videos called The Most Interesting Thing in Tech. And basically what's interesting, also, in addition to the content, is that his background is always changing. He's always in very, very interesting places. And I think that hook people in. And he literally starts the video, like the video starts with him recording. So definitely this is one of the ideas that I've been thinking about lately.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we have for you. If you have any questions, let us know as well.
We have one from Luis Carlos again.
Yeah, no, of course, that's a good point. Even videos that seem very real can be fake. Nothing is completely, we've seen fantastically real seeming videos that were completely AI. But yeah, how does the algorithm know? How do people know it's real? Yes, it's true. But of course, that's the idea behind it. If it's completely foolproof, no, that's a different story. That's why, include real, because that's what's still a little bit difficult for AI to get is you in an actual street in Brussels, at an actual bread store that everybody knows. So, if you're reaching a specific audience in a specific place, go to Kitchen 151. I'm just saying that because we are organizing an event there this Thursday. Go to a place that everybody knows on Place Luxe. Go inside, have an interview with the bartender that everybody knows. Go to these kind of places that make it really real. Something that's difficult for an AI still at this moment to fabricate. Actual people, have interviews with other people that people know. These are the kind of things that are difficult still to.
I'm gonna save all this. Definitely gonna go back to this conversation during the weekend because I think it's reflection time for everyone who uses LinkedIn to put yourself out, but also to help others. I think that's one of the main takeaways that I, from this week of reflection. Like I think if your post help others, and that translates into making them save the post, making them engage with them, then they will perform better. If they are more about you and about, more selfish in a way, they will not. I don't know if that's the right mindset to go into it, but that's the one that I'm gonna try. We have one more question from Asaf.
Yes, and he's in Brussels. Hi, Asaf. Glad that you're with me here in Brussels. And this is a question that I'm very eager to answer. He says, if LinkedIn is pushing you to produce and post more 2 to 5 times per week, how does that work with focusing on one niche and creating qualitative content? How is this balance between quantity and quality working? Well, first of all, only post when you have something real to say, right? But the thing with a niche is that you have a couple of main messages and you just repackage them in different shapes and forms. So if your core message, like mine, is that you want people to focus on their visibility, and visibility is a good thing. You just you do a video once, and then you do a carousel, and then you do a long article with all the tips. So you just repackage the same message, because most people will not see, only your posts are only seen by 30% of your audience, if that much, right? So you need to push out your message in different formats. You don't want to do the exact same thing, although you can also repost the exact same post with a different image or a different hook after 90 days, for example, if you post a lot. Now, twice a week, that's not actually that much, right? 5 times a week, if you have a lot to say, if you have different messages. So it doesn't mean that you actually, as I said last week, once you start determining exactly what it is that you want to say and whom you want to say it to, and you identify the pain points that people have, because once you are clear what you're bringing to the world, people will bring you a lot of, but what about this and what about that? This question, for example, that you put out here is a very good post for me to answer. I will explain that in probably next week's post. It's a very good question. There's a couple of questions. So, once you are clear on what you're bringing, you just answer different questions in all the sub posts, and in different formats as well.
Yeah. And we have a conversation going on with our followers, exchanging tips, which is exactly the point of these sessions. You drop in with your questions. We try to help, but also we have a huge community of people who are experiencing the same issues, exploring, experimenting. So thank you, Fikuna Jomi, for sharing that. The sweet spot is around 3, I thought, per week. Yeah, 3 per week. Okay, that's really good. I find it like very constraining myself, but I should definitely reduce.
Well, I was reading a post of a person who's more like me. I mean, I post every day. This person was posting multiple times a day. I just saw this post last week, and he said that he had 1 million impressions last month. And I was looking at each individual post. It got about 20-25 likes. So that's the thing. When you have more posts, LinkedIn is not going to show each and every post to that many people. So your impressions per post are going to go down. But then, of course, your overall impressions are going to go up so much. You're still going to get, and that I find the same for my posts. If I post less, my individual impressions are probably going to go up. But then my overall impressions are still going to be lower. So the question is also what are your goals? And yes, I do agree. If you have nothing meaningful to say, if you cannot come up with something interesting, don't post just for the sake of posting. But I always have 1 million things to say, so
exactly.
I keep doing it. Let's go to the next page. Thank you, Asaf. All right.
On that, I wanted to also back up your tips with some of the really interesting research that is being done right now, because the idea is, if now LinkedIn is going to spot how what AI generic content is, or whatever that is, then we need to understand how AI machines like to write, so that you try not to do it like them. And that really I mean, it's very inconvenient, because those machines, what this research shows, they review like an immense amount of posts written by AI and by humans, and there are like very, very clear patterns that emerge. The first thing is that AI over-explain things, and especially moral questions. Like, they are very curious about this, and they repeat and go over, etc. Things that for humans are very straightforward. It is true that they prefer cleaner, more linear narratives when telling stories. They don't like ambiguity, and they try to show emotional signaling, but then they go way too far. And it sounds like, yeah, like they sound emotionally like complete, even when the story is, it doesn't carry any emotional weight.
Sebastian,
And
I like this so much because whenever you read about AI writing, it's always about the not this, not that, the threes,
mhm,
the empty lines. But there's much more to it. It is true that there's so much repetition in AI writing.
mhm,
So I really like this article that goes into much more depth, which is why I always say that I use AI so much in my business, but not for writing. You
mhm,
can do it for brainstorm. You can do it also when you have a really good post that you've written. Ask it to produce 25 hooks, or ask it. I have a page on this in this presentation these slides that we've prepared for you guys. You can ask Perplexity Computer to do a whole analysis about the best performing post by the best performing, the fastest growing accounts on LinkedIn, so you can learn from them. What do they do? How long are their posts? How long are their, what kind of hooks do they use? And it goes into amazing detail, and you can learn so much from that. And then you can ask Perplexity Computer to turn that into into a carousel that you can then post on LinkedIn. So those are all sort of things, but the actual writing and your own voice, the
mhm.
post that goes with it, that is typically not something that is your own opinion. That's not something you want to outsource. All right. And then you also have another page, right? I'm eager to hear about this.
Yeah, indeed. Then the thing is how not to sound AI. Like, for example, this example from a parody account uh, is, according to this research, we humans, we like to leave tensions unresolved, and this is in the policy area. This is like really, really important because we want to resolve something with a proposal, with a call to action, or with something that we need to do. But humans, in reality, we can invite the reader to connect the dots, to make their own assumption. If you read a good book is when it opens up lots of opportunities and lots of different scenarios. We humans, according to this research, we write in a way messier way. We also contradict ourselves. We have contradictory narratives. AI doesn't like that, but we are able as humans to handle contradictions and to present them more clearly. And then we reference the outside world more specifically, because of course we live in it, and we know what's the smell of something better than AI could do. And this is again a research done, not looking at LinkedIn specifically, just look at stories written by humans versus bots, and those are the main results. I see one question from AskSky that says that AI provides, the understanding is that AI provides ambiguous output. I think here and this research points to the contrary. I think what it means is that they will try, even though it is ambiguous in the end, right? Even if it is empty, this AI is trying to fill that ambiguity with more duplication and with, maybe with more words, over explanations, but then maybe the output it's gonna still be ambiguous. But at least these AI, these machines, they try to avoid that. They don't want the ambiguity. They want to be specific, but of course they fail at that, or they are not as good as the humans at doing that. So I don't know, some research to back it up, like be messy. I guess, Liora, if we have to summarize this on how to not sound AI, is be messy, open up questions for your audience, and have a little bit of imperfection thrown at your post, and maybe, just maybe, you will you will hack the LinkedIn algorithm.
But about the ambiguity, this is why sometimes it hallucinates, because it wants it to fit. It wants to, it's because it's, and of course it doesn't make it correct, but it wants everything to be, so it wants to answer your question, and it just fills up the gap, fills the gaps, see? But yes, in terms of what works, I wrote a post on LinkedIn, I think it must have been 2-3 years ago, where I said, this is the age of messy communication. Like, people want messy. We want, when you read a post, you want to feel the real thing. You want it to read like someone was speaking to you as your as his buddy, like their best buddy, with words that a computer wouldn't use, that maybe your best friend would use, like, so it's those. And it's also what this post we showed previously, so it's think about, get away from the corporate language. It's never worked. That's also why corporate LinkedIn accounts don't work, because it's also stiff and correct. And you can see that 3 people looked at the post before it went out, and it sucked out all the life out of it. So try to just, for it to be real. Yeah. Real.
Should we take a question from the audience, Liora? I think we have one really interesting on audience building beyond LinkedIn or the platform, and it totally feels like that. It's these updates, they are incredibly random, arbitrary, and it's very frustrating to try to adapt to them. So what would you say, Liora? Like, how does building an audience beyond LinkedIn? We kind of touched upon this
last week,
but happy to go back for the new people joining us today. But what do you think?
I think you answered this really well last week. Maybe you can explain what you said.
Yeah. Okay. I think I think one of the things that I noticed over the last 10 years in Brussels is that the platform in which the conversations take place really has changed and dramatically. I think we, as a small community, relatively a small community, we jump into things almost like a herd, no? And at the beginning it was X, then it was LinkedIn. It was Clubhouse, which was an audio-only platform that was very popular during the pandemic. Blue Sky, Mastodon, and then now it's LinkedIn. But in 3 years, we really don't know. What I do, and what I recommend others, is that one-to-one communications are never disappearing. And that means you need to collect your emails. That means you need to collect your phone numbers. You need to build your WhatsApp, Telegram channels, and make sure that your audience, even if they are following you on LinkedIn, ask them for the email so that you can let them know when you're going in live, or let them know when you publish something directly to them. And that will make the transition from one platform to the other less painful. And I have people who follow me from the time in Clubhouse, and I haven't lost them over the last few years. And I think that's really important. I wouldn't deplatform completely, because the reach is undoubtedly there on LinkedIn, but I think one-to-one communications will never disappear, and you should prioritize those.
At the same time, what I think is most important is just to build your personal brand, because if you have a personal brand, people, once one channel stops working, they will follow you to the next channel. They'll know where to find you for the things that you have to offer. If you're looking for a job, they will know where to find you, because you have a brand that is just that strong. So it moves with you. I moved from different places, and I always had an audience wherever I was, because I had a strong brand. So I think that's important to focus on your brand first, and then that is kind of platform independence. I also wanted to tell people that Canva had a fantastic keynote last week. And you can watch it on Canva if you are on Canva. It was really amazing, almost Apple style. I really enjoyed watching it. Now, that being said, I think the story that they told is probably not really matching up with the reality of Canva. So Canva is amazing. We use it. My team uses it, and it's a good tool. But they are all about, they spoke a lot about how AI is amazing for imagery, but then to bring in your brand, it's kind of difficult. And they're going to solve all that. And it sounds just like what we want. But then when you go into the reality of Canva and Canva AI, it's really not the case. Canva's built-in AI is quite dreadful, to be honest. If you look at ChatGPT's newest image creator, it's 100 times better. It can even do your own brand if you train it. There's, the same with Claude and the computer version of Perplexity. So it's full of talk, but the reality has not matched up. I'm curious to see if AI 2.0, because the features are still being rolled out, especially here in Europe, is going to be better. But I don't know. Allow me to be a little bit apprehensive. Let me know if you disagree, or if you really like the AI that is in Canva and we're just not using it well. But the keynote, amazing, really good, really good writers of that keynote for sure.
Nice. Lots of things. I think to start also wrapping up the conversation. I think this comment really summarizes one of the key points today. Be messy, be self-aware, be unhinged, and then I think even when talking about serious topics, people will appreciate that you are able to be intelligent enough to find the human connection and to find a way to make a complex issue more relatable. And there will be another points where you will need to display your full knowledge and intelligence. That's in a negotiating room or in any other place. Here on social media, I think those are like the top tips that I think this conversation has shown. I think here Liora and I, we are trying to be as honest and spontaneous as we can, and I think that's one of the key things that I really enjoy doing every Friday. All right. I would say if there are more questions, just we're going to give you a few minutes to put them in and we can answer them. In the meantime, we can share what's the best thing and the worst week of the week. Let's start with the worst week, the worst thing we've seen during the week. Do you want to
yes,
share,
so,
Liora?
who has seen this message appear on top of their LinkedIn? I first rejected it 10 times, but then I thought, they are very pushy, smart people. I'm going to accept it because I cannot take it anymore. But that didn't change anything either. Then I asked Perplexity. They said, okay, you need to approve this in the cookies. So I then, I just thought, okay, whatever, I'm just going to approve all of it. And even that didn't work. I accepted all the cookies. I gave away all my privacy and it still didn't work. Now I could implement maybe a cookie blocker. If you have a tip on how to get this message to disappear, or better yet, how this message to disappear and still keep some of your privacy, then let us know. I think it might also have something to do with Google settings. I don't know, but it's weird. I don't know what's going on, because of course we have these GDPR messages all over the internet, and they don't just keep reappearing and reappearing. So LinkedIn solved this, because it is really messing with my user experience. We have a couple of more questions. Yeah. Interesting how human messiness and imperfections that we usually try to correct is now something that we should be more aware of and celebrate. Yes, indeed. And also, if you speak a different language and English is not your first language, just showing that makes us feel more connected. And, in the beginning, when AI came about, some of my clients said, okay, great. Now, finally, I can be perfect in English. I'm going to use it to translate everything. And that turned out to not work as well, because it kind of took out all the character, the originality of the language. And it kind of brought us back to want to see more of the person. And there were people who used to, I know them, they speak with a Spanish accent, they are very Spanish in their behavior. I'm not talking about Sebastian, even more Spanish, like very Spanish, Spanish words. And then all of a sudden they started writing with ChatGPT, and I didn't recognize them anymore. And I missed them. I missed them on LinkedIn. I missed their original sound. I didn't want them to sound like ChatGPT, like an American bots kind of thing. So I think it made us appreciate human beings for who they are, and made us realize that, we, especially here in Brussels or here in Europe, we like that we're all different, and we use different words, and we use different loan words, and we don't want to all sound the same. And I think the period where you are more successful if you speak English like an American robot is over, and we're coming to this age where we appreciate and love everyone being different. Do you feel the same way, Sebastian?
Yes, I am perhaps more of a believer that you can use AI to keep yourself loyal to your tone.
Of course.
And you can really train a chatbot on all your past posts on LinkedIn. Just upload all your past posts from LinkedIn on a chatbot and say, how do I sound? Like, establish some rules. And then every time that I share something with ChatGPT, I always write the first draft. ChatGPT comes back to me with something that sometimes I don't recognize. And what I always say is, I love this prompt, which is closer to my copy. It's a prompt that I love, closer to my copy. And then I force the system, the machine, to go and read what I had written in the first place. And then usually I find that I find my voice there in a more clear way. And I try to work in tandem with AI. But I know that sometimes, especially when you have like a job that you need to post like for different events, etc., and all the events sound the same, right? Oh, it was great to be in this event with this or that speaker, etc. At the end of the day, those posts, you cannot really innovate in every single post. There are some posts that are meant to be boring or meant to be more traditional, and AI helps you like maybe structure them better. And not every post can be witty. Not every post can be about an amazing experience. So give yourself some credit. Try to increase the number of posts that are imperfect and that are messy, and where you sort of risk a little bit, and see how it goes. See how it goes.
So no, the strategy is not 3 spicy posts a week, although why not? The strategy is to start loving LinkedIn, to start with a rhythm that you can maintain, because there's nothing worse than to post 5 times a week and then to go back to nothing or to 1 post a week because you can maintain it. Start with a rhythm you can maintain. Then you will see that, and also to comment a lot, because LinkedIn is not to push out messages like a paper from the 50s and just hope that magically interaction will happen. It's to go to other people's platform, to engage with posts that are around your niche that you find interesting. And then once you love it, you post more, and then you do it twice a week, and then 3 times a week. And then at some point, maybe you'll be like that gentleman that I referenced earlier, and you post all the time because you have nothing else to do, and that's just like your dream. I do have to say that it brings so many opportunities. So at some point you will really see the benefits of posting, and you'll enjoy it, and maybe you will be posting every day. So so you will see that as you continue. But definitely spicy is a good idea if that fits your brand. Doron said something is very annoying. This pop-up message, I guess he thought it was very annoying. Yes, we've seen that. All right. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a shame that it doesn't. But since we were talking about imperfection, then this is an imperfection, which is. But I will share the link in the comments about this post. But there is a really interesting research that says that language models need to sleep in order to function better. I find that like incredibly relevant because we, as humans, do we need to sleep and we need to take a break and we need to enjoy the weekend and in order to be able to perform. It looks like these paper points that the machines are like that. So there you go. We are closer. We are more aligned with these machines these days.
But this is so disappointing. But
I know,
I guess
right?
you could, first of all, why? I don't get
Mhm.
it. And second of all, can we then just work with different ones? So if ChatGPT works at night, can I then have Perplexity work during the day? Because, this is exactly why I use them. What is this?
I would say that their breaks are still shorter than our breaks. So
Okay.
it's more like a Spanish siesta than a long than a solid 10 hours of sleep, which I've never had since I've had 2 kids running around the house. I think that's for me something that I don't know if I will ever take it back. So I think that these models still do a power nap, and I think we should do that power nap and that slow transition to the weekend now. Thank you so much, Liora, again for making this happen one more week, and see you next one. We will publish the details and hopefully we will continue the conversation.
Yes, thank you everyone who joined despite the weather. Thank you from all over the world, and we will see each other soon, probably next week. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.